Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Star Wars channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Perhaps it's been a long day in your own galaxy, or perhaps, like so many travelers before you, you're simply ready to drift, to let your thoughts dissolve into the quiet between the stars. There's nothing you need to do now. No battles to fight, no hyperspace to navigate, only stillness, only breath. Let the day fall away, piece by piece, like dust settling in the twilight. Because tonight, we are not just closing our eyes, we are stepping softly into history, into myth, into memory, into the shimmering thread of the Force itself. The galaxy before us is vast, ancient, and full of gentle light. A place where heroes and dreamers have walked beneath twin suns, where empires have risen and fallen like the tide, where the hum of a lightsaber is as peaceful as a heartbeat, and every whisper of the Force is an invitation to rest. We will wander together through 100 moments, each one a star in the endless night. From the birth of the Jedi to the quiet dawn of peace, from the songs of kyber crystals to the soft voices of the living Force. Every story you'll hear tonight is a lullaby of light and shadow, of courage and calm, of balance and belonging. So, wherever you are, find your own stillness. Let your breathing slow, steady, gentle. Inhale the calm of the cosmos and exhale everything else. Feel the weight of your body soften as if the Force itself cradles you in its embrace. You are safe here, among the stars, among the stories, among friends. And now, as the first dawn rises over Tython and the ancient hum of the galaxy stirs once more, let us begin our journey, a journey through 100 sleepy facts, woven through time, light, and dream. Close your eyes, and may the Force be with you, always. 1. The first light. Before there were stars, before the hum of lightsabers or the whisper of destiny, there was only stillness. And then, the Force breathed. A ripple of energy spread through the void, soft as dawn touching an empty sky. From that breath came motion, gravity, and the gentle spiral of galaxies finding form. Those first beings who felt the Force did not give it a name. They felt it as warmth, as connection, as the knowing that they were never truly alone. It flowed through the smallest grain of dust and the greatest sun, unseen, eternal, patient. And as the universe unfolded, so too did its quiet consciousness. In that endless calm, the Force dreamed, and the galaxy began to awaken. 2. Ashla and Bogan Long. Before the words light side and dark side were ever spoken, ancient philosophers on the world of Tython gazed up at its twin moons, Ashla and Bogan. One shone softly, glowing with peace and wisdom. The other burned dark, fierce, and untamed. The early mystics saw them as mirrors of the Force, serenity and passion, harmony and chaos. They learned that neither could exist without the other, just as day and night share the same horizon. When storms raged on Tython, they said it was Ashla and Bogan in argument. And when the sky cleared, the moons had found understanding once again. From their balance, the first lessons of the Force were born. That peace is not the absence of conflict, but the mastery of it through awareness. And under that twin light, the Jedi would soon rise. 3. The Jedi Order. On the ancient surface of Tython, the Jedi sought neither victory nor conquest. They sought balance. They were wanderers, scholars, and dreamers who believed the Force was both fire and water, powerful only through harmony. They built temples upon the world's great elemental nodes: fire, air, water, and stone, each a reflection of inner discipline. The Jedi carried wooden staves before sabers, teaching that one must master spirit before wielding energy. Their meditations echoed through canyons and across deserts, where the Force hummed in the air like a living song. They did not fear the dark, nor worship the light. They simply listened. And in their listening, the first whispers of Jedi destiny began to take shape, like the calm before 1,000 years of stars. 4. Storms of Tython. Tython was not a gentle world. The winds there roared with the raw breath of the Force itself, swirling into tempests that shimmered with unseen energy. When the Jedi lost their inner balance, the storms would awaken. Great luminous maelstroms that cracked across the sky like the pulse of creation. To the untrained, they were deadly. But to those who listened, they were teachers. The Jedi learned that every storm mirrored the heart. When one spirit wavered, the planet itself would tremble in sympathy. And so, meditating beneath thunder and lightning, they sought calm within chaos. Each storm became a lesson that peace is not silence, but steadiness amid fury. When the skies cleared, the world exhaled, and serenity returned once more. 5. Pilgrims of the Force. Before the Jedi were many, they were few, travelers guided by dreams. Across the young galaxy, beings of every shape and origin felt the same quiet call, a pull like gravity, drawing them toward the mysterious planet of Tython. Some came in ships, others in meditation. None knew why they were summoned, only that the Force itself seemed to beckon. They were called pilgrims of the Force, the first to walk paths of both science and spirit. They studied the energies that bound all life together, not to command them, but to understand them. In their journeying, they discovered that the Force was not a possession, but a companion, a silent star guiding every step. And beneath the twin moons, their fellowship became a sanctuary of balance and awakening. 6. The 9 Temples. Over centuries, the Jedi raised 9 temples across Tython, each devoted to a truth of the Force. The Temple of the Moon reflected patience, while the Temple of Fire taught passion's discipline. In the Temple of Balance, the Jedi meditated between Ashla and Bogan's opposing light. Each temple stood upon a nexus of energy, the world's pulse made manifest. There, initiates would travel from one temple to another, seeking not mastery over nature, but harmony with it. They studied stone, flame, wind, and water, believing that each element mirrored a part of the soul. And as they walked the trails between sanctuaries, the Force whispered through the leaves and sands. In stillness, all things become clear. Another dawn rose over Tython, and the journey continued. 7. The Balance Trials. When the Jedi felt their connection to the Force waver, they did not seek punishment. They sought understanding. Each initiate who lost balance was sent on a pilgrimage known as the Great Journey, a solitary test across the world of Tython. Some ventured into frozen peaks, others into molten valleys where the planet's fire burned bright. Their goal was not victory, but harmony. They were to face their fears, their desires, and their doubts until the storm within them calmed. Many returned changed. Some did not return at all. Yet those who found peace spoke of hearing the Force in every breath of wind and every ripple of water. To be Jedi was to be a traveler, forever seeking stillness within motion. 8. The Schism of Shadows. In time, imbalance found its way into even the most peaceful hearts. Among the Jedi, some began to believe that the Force's power should be wielded, not merely understood. They saw strength as purpose, emotion as truth. Others stood firm in the belief that control led to corruption and that harmony was the only true path. This difference, quiet at first, grew into the first great division of the Force. When storms once again swept Tython, they no longer spoke in wisdom, but in warning. Jedi fought Jedi, not for conquest, but conviction. The air shimmered with sorrow as their once balanced world became a mirror of their conflict. And in that storm of spirit, the seeds of the Sith and Jedi were planted. From unity, duality was born. 9. From Jedi to Jedi. When the war ended, silence fell over Tython. The survivors walked among the ruins of their temples, hearts heavy with the weight of understanding. They had seen what came from imbalance, from clinging too tightly to either light or shadow. And so they made a vow to dedicate themselves only to the luminous side of the Force, to seek peace through serenity and service. The Jedi name was set aside, and a new one was chosen, Jedi. They left Tython to carry their teachings into the wider galaxy, their memories etched into holocrons and meditation stones. The Jedi became legend, and the Jedi became guardians. And in the stillness after their departure, Tython slept beneath its twin moons, dreaming of balance once more. 10. The first Kyber Deep. Within the stone veins of Tython, the Jedi discovered crystals that pulsed with living light. When touched, they resonated softly, like a heartbeat felt through the Force itself. These were the first Kyber crystals, ancient and aware, singing to those who listened. The Jedi learned that each crystal was attuned to balance. It would not shine for those who sought domination or fear. Over time, as the Jedi arose from their ashes, Kyber became sacred, not as a weapons core, but as a partner in harmony. When ignited, it was said that the blade's hum reflected the wielder's soul. To carry a Kyber was to carry light made manifest, a promise to guide, never to harm. 11. Guardians of Peace. The Jedi Order spread across the galaxy like soft light through mist. They were not conquerors nor rulers. They were listeners, mediators, and guardians of peace. Where others saw chaos, they sought understanding. Where anger flared, they answered with calm. Their robes were plain, their ships unadorned. Their greatest strength was humility. The Order believed that every life, no matter how small, was a thread in the fabric of the Force. They taught that to disturb one strand was to tremble the whole. So they lived simply, moving from world to world, helping civilizations find harmony in their own way. They were called knights, but their truest weapon was compassion. And as the galaxy grew vast and loud, the Jedi remained its gentle heartbeat. 12. The Temple on Coruscant. At the heart of the Republic, the Jedi built a temple whose towers reached toward the heavens, a monument not to power, but to peace. It was raised upon an ancient Force nexus, its halls echoing with the quiet hum of meditation. Within its marble corridors, fountains whispered, and sunlight streamed through high crystalline windows. At night, the city's glow shimmered like a sea of stars beneath its spires. Younglings practiced patience in the gardens, while masters communed with the living Force in deep reflection. From its highest chamber, the Council gazed across the galaxy, not as rulers, but as stewards. And in the silence between words, the Force breathed with them, eternal, gentle, and endlessly aware. 13. The Youngling's Path. In the halls of the Jedi Temple, children once wandered with eyes full of wonder. They were the younglings, tiny sparks of the Force, each one glowing in its own quiet way. They studied not only how to move the Force, but how to feel it through laughter, patience, and play. In the gathering, they traveled to distant worlds to seek the crystal that would one day choose them. Every lesson began and ended with calm breathing, an understanding that the Force is clearest when the heart is still. They learned empathy before battle, kindness before command. And as the temple's sun set, their voices filled the corridors like a lullaby, proof that peace begins in innocence. 14. Masters and Padawans. When a youngling was ready, a Jedi Master would choose them as Padawan, not for skill, but for spirit. The bond between teacher and student was sacred, formed through patience and shared trial. A master did not mold a Padawan in their image. They merely held up a mirror, helping the student see their true self. Some trained together for years, others for decades. They faced fear, loss, and revelation side by side, until the Force whispered that the apprentice had learned to walk alone. At that moment, a master bowed, not in farewell, but in gratitude. For every teacher learned as deeply as they taught. And under that quiet exchange, the Jedi's living tradition endured, one soul guiding another through the endless tide of time. 15. Lightsabers and Legends. There was a moment in every Jedi's life, the first hum of a newly forged lightsaber. It was not a sound of war, but of communion. Each kyber crystal, awakened by its chosen wielder, sang a note unique to that soul. Blue for guardians of truth, green for seekers of harmony, violet and yellow for those who walked paths between. The weapon was both flame and melody, a symbol of the Jedi's promise to protect, not to rule. When a lightsaber ignited in darkness, it did not seek to destroy the night. It simply reminded the stars that hope still burned. And somewhere, beneath 1,000 suns, another apprentice began their song. 16. Meditations in the Archives. Beneath the shining towers of Coruscant's temple lay the Jedi Archives, a sanctuary of silence and light. Rows upon rows of holocrons shimmered in suspended calm, each one containing centuries of thought, memory, and meditation. Here, the Force felt still, as if time itself paused to listen. Jedi Masters wandered through the aisles not to study conquest, but compassion. They believed that every answer already existed within the living Force, and that the archives merely helped the seeker remember. In the heart of that great hall stood Jocasta Nu and the librarians before her, gentle keepers of wisdom. For the Jedi, knowledge was not a weapon to wield, but a mirror in which to see the self reflected clearly. 17. The High Republic's glow. There came a time when the galaxy was radiant with peace, the era of the High Republic. Jedi outposts glimmered across the stars like beacons of guidance, their banners carried not in war, but in welcome. Starships of exploration sailed beyond known space, their hulls adorned with gold and hope. The Order stood in harmony with the Republic, helping worlds flourish rather than rule them. It was a time when the Force seemed to sing, a melody of prosperity, curiosity, and light. Temples rose on distant moons, filled with laughter and learning. For 1,000 systems, the Jedi were not warriors, but gardeners of unity. The galaxy, vast and bright, dreamed of endless peace, unaware that even golden ages cast long shadows. 18. The Great Disaster. Then, without warning, the stars themselves screamed. A ship in hyperspace shattered, torn apart by forces unseen, and its fragments rained across the galaxy like falling meteors. Planets trembled, worlds were lost, and the peace of the High Republic cracked beneath the weight of tragedy. The Jedi felt the disturbance ripple through the Force, sharp, cold, and sorrowful. Yet even as chaos spread, they responded not with anger, but compassion. From every corner of the galaxy, they gathered to heal and to rebuild. For even in the darkest night, the light remained. And in that resolve, the Jedi proved what they had always been. Not conquerors, but caretakers of hope. 19. The Nihil Storm. From the edges of wild space, chaos came. Not as an empire, but as a storm. They were called the Nihil, marauders who moved through hyperspace like ghosts, striking where no one could predict. Their ships carried the scent of ozone and fire, their leaders bound by fear and fury. To them, the galaxy's order was a cage, and destruction, a kind of freedom. For the Jedi, the Nihil were not just enemies, but mirrors, a reflection of what happens when power loses purpose. As the High Republic trembled, the Jedi learned again that peace is not something granted by law. It must be tended like a fragile flame within every soul. And so, beneath the thunder, they stood firm. 20. Hope rekindled. Even storms must pass. When the Nihil's rage had burned itself thin, the galaxy rose again from the ashes of its fear. The Jedi rebuilt their temples and reopened their hearts to the stars. They sent envoys of compassion to worlds scarred by loss, reminding them that unity is born not from power, but from empathy. Stories of heroism spread quietly, of masters who gave their lives, of Padawans who stood unbroken. For every system that fell, another found strength to rise. The Force, ever patient, hummed with renewal. In meditation, the Jedi saw a truth older than light itself, that hope, like the Force, can never be destroyed, only forgotten, and when remembered, it burns brighter than any sun. 21. The Dark Reflection. But balance is eternal, and where light thrives, shadow stirs. Far from the Republic's warmth, seekers of power turned inward, into the depths of passion, anger, and desire. They felt the Force too, but they called upon it through emotion, not serenity. They named it freedom, yet it bound them. These were the first Sith, born not from evil, but misunderstanding. They believed the Force's strength was meant to be seized, not shared. And though their beginnings were small, their hunger echoed across time. Where the Jedi found peace in surrender, the Sith found purpose in control. And so began an endless dance of light and shadow, each chasing the other across the face of eternity. 22. Korriban's Crimson Sands. On the desolate world of Korriban, the dunes glowed red beneath a dying sun. It was a planet steeped in silence, yet the ground itself seemed to hum with memory. Here, among carved tombs and ancient spires, the first Sith Lords were laid to rest. Their crypts stretched deep into the earth, labyrinths of history and hunger. Those who walked among them said the air was heavy, as though the very dust remembered rage. To the Sith, Korriban was sacred, not for beauty, but for endurance. It taught that power could outlast flesh, that will could defy time. And when the wind swept across those crimson sands, it carried the soft, eternal whisper, strength lives on through legacy. 23. Lords of Passion. The early Sith were not monsters, but visionaries blinded by their own brilliance. They believed that emotion was the truest form of strength, that through passion, one could touch the very heart of the Force. To them, love and hate were not opposites, but twin flames of existence. They built temples of obsidian and fire, each stone infused with the heat of their conviction. Their teachings spread across the stars, promising liberation from restraint. Yet with every victory came corruption, for passion without balance becomes hunger. Still, in their fury, there was also beauty, the desperate, luminous need to feel the universe rather than simply serve it. In their fire, the Force itself seemed to tremble, alive, unpredictable, and endlessly yearning. 24. The 100-Year Darkness. When the Sith and Jedi first met in conflict, it was not a war of armies, but of beliefs. For 100 years, the galaxy burned with the struggle between control and compassion. The Jedi fought for peace, the Sith for freedom, each unable to see that both sought truth from different sides of the same mirror. Worlds shattered beneath their battles. The Force itself seemed to scream in pain. And when the final shadows fell, the Jedi emerged victorious, but not unchanged. They learned that victory without understanding is hollow, that darkness, once awakened, can never be entirely slain. As silence returned to the stars, the survivors vowed, never again would the galaxy forget the cost of imbalance. 25. Banished beyond the rim. When the 100-Year Darkness finally faded, the defeated Sith were cast out from the Republic, exiled beyond the known stars. They traveled into the cold void, their ships damaged, their power fractured, yet their will unbroken. Beyond the outer rim, they found a forgotten world, a place of crimson skies and carved mountains. There, they encountered the native Sith species, being strong in the dark side's current. The exiles became their rulers, their gods, shaping a new civilization in their image. Cut off from the galaxy, they built monuments of stone and fire, hiding their knowledge in holocrons of red crystal. And though centuries passed, they waited, patient, unseen, and certain that the light would one day forget them. 26. The Empire of Shadows. From that exile grew a secret empire, vast, disciplined, and utterly silent. It stretched across the ancient worlds of Korriban, Ziost, and Dromund Kaas, where the Force itself seemed to pulse with memory. Under crimson banners, the Sith forged weapons and wisdom alike, blending science and sorcery into one art. They learned to feed on fear, not for sustenance, but for control. To outsiders, they were myth. To themselves, destiny incarnate. They spoke of vengeance not with rage, but reverence, as if waiting were a holy act. Even the stars seemed dimmer around their realm. For the Sith knew a truth few others could bear. Darkness endures best when it is quiet. And so they watched, and dreamed, and remembered. 27. The Rule of Two. In time, the Sith's hunger turned inward. Lords fought lords, apprentices betrayed masters, and power devoured itself. Among the ashes rose one who understood the flaw, Darth Bane. He decreed that there should be only two, one master to embody power, and one apprentice to crave it. In this way, the Sith would never again consume themselves, but instead grow sharper, like a blade honed by patience. For generations, they hid in shadows, passing knowledge from whisper to whisper, master to student. The galaxy forgot their name, but the dark side never sleeps. Bane's rule became scripture, his silence their strength. And in that stillness, vengeance began to take root once more. 28. Holocrons of the dark hidden deep within tombs and secret vaults, the Sith stored their knowledge in crimson holocrons, pyramids of glowing energy that spoke in whispers only the strong could hear. Each was alive in its own way, filled with the essence of its creator, their triumphs, their fury, their hunger for truth. Those who opened one felt the chill of eternity brush their spirit, as if the Force itself were holding its breath. Within these devices lay the forbidden arts, alchemy, possession, and manipulation of life itself. But even in corruption, there was curiosity. Even in darkness, a kind of awe. For the Sith, knowledge was not light nor shadow. It was simply power, waiting to be awakened. And so, the holocrons dreamed, patient as stars. 29. The Phantom's patience generations passed. The Republic grew complacent, the Jedi, serene. And somewhere in that stillness, the Sith waited. Their masters and apprentices passed their wisdom in whispers, never revealing themselves, never acting in haste. Each century was a breath, each lifetime a single move in a game of eternity. The dark side thrived on secrecy, feeding not on chaos, but on the quiet arrogance of those who believed it gone. In this long twilight, the Sith became phantoms, unseen architects weaving destiny through politics, dreams, and bloodlines. Their revenge was not a shout, but a heartbeat. And across the galaxy, the Force trembled, knowing that the storm was not gone, only sleeping. 30. The Sith returned. When at last the darkness stirred, it did so softly. In the glittering halls of the Republic, a new voice rose, calm, wise, and unseen for what it truly was. The Sith had returned, cloaked not in armor, but in diplomacy. Through patience, they had found power again. Through subtlety, they began to move the pieces of fate. The Jedi, still guardians of peace, could not feel the shadow growing beneath their very feet. For evil rarely roars when it can whisper. And so began a new era, where light and darkness danced once more in silence, beneath the gaze of a galaxy unaware. The Phantom Menace had awakened. 31. An age of order. After millennia of peacekeeping, the Jedi Order stood at the height of its influence. The Galactic Republic stretched from the core worlds to the rim, a network of thousands of systems bound by diplomacy and faith in harmony. To many, it seemed that darkness had finally been forgotten. The Senate Hall shimmered with light, and Jedi walked its marble corridors as wise counselors rather than warriors. For a time, balance felt eternal, a galaxy in rhythm with itself. But beneath the surface, currents of greed and complacency stirred. The Force, ever watchful, knew that no peace is permanent. Even in stillness, change gathers strength. And somewhere beyond the glittering skyline, destiny was preparing to awaken once more. 32. Coruscant's endless city Coruscant, the shining jewel at the galaxy's heart. From orbit, its surface glowed like a single, endless metropolis, layer upon layer of civilization stacked upon itself through millennia. In the lower depths, forgotten levels slumbered, their shadows older than the Republic itself. Above, spires pierced the clouds, where senators, merchants, and dreamers shaped the fate of countless worlds. The Jedi Temple rose among them like a mountain of serenity amid a sea of noise. Every sunrise bathed its towers in gold. Every sunset turned its halls to amber calm. The city never slept, yet within its pulse there was an almost sacred rhythm, a reminder that even in a world of steel and light, the Force flowed quietly between every breath. 33. The Chosen One Prophecy. Amid this age of peace, a whisper echoed through the archives of the Jedi. It spoke of one who would bring balance to the Force, the Chosen One. No one knew when, or how, or who it would be. Some masters feared it foretold destruction. Others believed it promised renewal. The prophecy became a riddle wrapped in silence, recited like prayer, but rarely understood. For the Jedi knew that destiny, once named, has a will of its own. And so they waited watching the stars for signs, unaware that the Force had already begun its quiet work. Far away, in a desert yet to be seen, a boy's story was already stirring beneath twin suns. 34. The Naboo Peace. On the lush, radiant world of Naboo, the galaxy glimpsed a rare kind of harmony. Its rolling meadows and quiet lakes mirrored the serenity of its people, a civilization that cherished beauty, diplomacy, and art. When tension with the Trade Federation threatened that peace, a young queen named Amidala chose negotiation over aggression. Her courage sparked a movement that reached far beyond her homeworld, proof that calm resolve could triumph where armies could not. The victory of Naboo restored momentary balance to the Republic, reminding the galaxy of what unity could achieve. But in the applause of that triumph, no one noticed the faint shadow behind the throne, the smile of a senator whose ambitions reach far beyond the stars. 35. The Rise of Palpatine. He was a man of subtle words and quiet grace, a politician from Naboo whose calm demeanor hid an ocean of intent. Palpatine rose through the Republic's ranks with ease, earning trust through patience and understanding. He spoke of stability, of justice, of lasting order, and the galaxy listened, weary of uncertainty. Yet beneath that soft-spoken charm lay a far older voice, one that had waited for centuries in shadow. Darth Sidious, a Sith Lord reborn, had found his stage. While the Jedi meditated in light, the darkness moved beneath their feet, shaping wars yet to come. For evil often wears the face of wisdom, and in Palpatine's eyes, the Force saw its reflection, cunning, quiet, and endlessly patient. 36. The Clone Legions. When the galaxy once again trembled toward conflict, armies were born in silence. On the storm-swept world of Kamino, scientists labored beneath endless rain, creating soldiers from a single source, the bounty hunter, Jango Fett. Each clone was bred for loyalty, discipline, and sacrifice. They marched in unison, identical yet individual, each one carrying within him the same flicker of humanity. To the Republic, they were tools of defense. To the Jedi, they were companions in arms. But to the Sith, they were something far more, the perfect instrument for an invisible plan. And as lightning danced across Kamino's waves, the Force itself seemed to shiver, sensing the storm that would soon engulf the stars. 37. Kamino's silent reign. Far beyond the bright lanes of the Republic, the ocean world of Kamino drifted beneath constant storms. Its cities floated on waves that glowed with reflected lightning, endless laboratories rising like silver towers from the sea. There, in sterile halls lit by pale light, the clone army of the Republic was born. The Kaminoans worked with eerie calm, speaking in whispers, their movements graceful and deliberate. They called their creation perfection, soldiers who would never question, never falter, never rest. But the rain outside told a different story, a rhythm of sorrow, steady and eternal. For even in creation, there is loss. Each drop that struck the domes above seemed to echo the same truth, that peace built upon war will always tremble. 38. Brothers in Armor. When the clones left Kamino to fight in distant systems, they did so as brothers, each a reflection of the same face, each a life forged for duty. They learned to name themselves, to joke, to dream beneath alien skies. The Jedi called them soldiers, but to many, they became family. In the quiet between battles, they shared stories, painted their armor, and wondered about futures they'd never see. Some formed bonds with their Jedi generals deeper than blood. They fought not for politics, but for the men and women beside them. And though they were created to serve, the Force flowed through them too, in courage, in sacrifice, in the small kindnesses that make a life worth living. For a time, their unity felt unbreakable, but destiny had already written another ending. 39. Order 66. It happened in a heartbeat, a whisper through the Force that turned brothers into executioners. The hidden command, buried deep within their minds, awakened. In a moment, trust shattered. Jedi fell across the galaxy, not to armies of darkness, but to the hands of those they had once protected. The Force cried out, trembling with grief. Yet even among tragedy, there were moments of light. Clones who hesitated, who remembered friendship over programming. Still, the order burned. Temples turned to silence, and the stars themselves seemed to dim. Peace had become war, and war had become sorrow. And as the echoes faded, the age of the Republic came to its quiet, tragic close. 40. The fall of the Republic. When the Jedi fell, so too did the Republic they had sworn to protect. In a single breath, democracy dissolved into decree. Chancellors became emperors, and applause filled the Senate where once justice had lived. The people, weary of endless wars, welcomed order, not realizing what it would cost. Worlds that once glimmered with art and hope grew silent beneath the shadow of control. The Jedi Temple, once a beacon of peace, became a fortress of fear. And yet, amid that silence, the Force remained, quiet, unseen, waiting. It had not been destroyed, only dimmed. For even as empires rise, the stars remember balance. And in their endless song, they whisper, nothing is ever truly lost. 41. The Empire ascended. Under the black banners of the Empire, the galaxy changed. Stormtroopers marched through once free cities, their armor gleaming like mirrors of obedience. Worlds were stripped of voice, and fear became the new law. Yet to those who ruled, it all seemed so peaceful. Trains on time, taxes paid, the illusion of perfection. The Emperor's words promised unity, and his presence brought silence. But silence is not peace. It is the echo of what has been taken. In the shadows of this new order, whispers of rebellion began to flicker. Tiny sparks, hidden beneath the weight of tyranny. And though the Force seemed distant, it was watching, waiting for courage to rise once more from the quiet corners of forgotten stars. 42. The spark of hope. Every fire begins with a single ember. Among smugglers, farmers, and dreamers, courage began to take shape again. A pilot who refused to bow, a senator who spoke the truth too loudly, a soldier who could not forget the light. These were the first rebels, not an army, but a heartbeat. They moved unseen, guided by conviction rather than power. They knew they could not yet win, but they also knew that surrender was a kind of death. And so they fought, with words, with faith, with the unbreakable belief that freedom is worth the struggle. The galaxy had forgotten hope, but hope had not forgotten the galaxy. 43. The Ghost Crew. On a freighter named Ghost, a small band of wanderers carried the first flame of defiance. Kanan Jarrus, once a Padawan hiding from his past. Hera Syndulla, a pilot whose heart beat to the rhythm of freedom. Young Ezra Bridger, orphaned but strong with the Force. Together with Sabine, Zeb, and the ever-grumbling droid Chopper, they struck quietly against the Empire's grip. Their victories were small, their losses great, yet every act of courage rippled outward. On Lothal's windswept plains, they proved that family is not bound by blood, but by choice. The Ghost's engines hummed like a lullaby of hope, carrying them from star to star. And though few knew their names, the galaxy felt their light growing in the dark. 44. The rise of the Alliance. As scattered rebellions began to intertwine, a dream took shape: the Rebel Alliance. Leaders from distant worlds gathered in secret, united not by power, but by faith in freedom. Ships once meant for trade were repurposed for battle, their hulls patched and painted with the symbol of the rising starbird. Mon Mothma's calm voice guided them, her courage gentle yet unyielding. From desert outposts to frozen caves, they built a network of hope, carried by whispers and trust. Each message, each alliance, was a spark in a galaxy of shadows. Though they faced overwhelming odds, their unity became their shield. For even the smallest constellation, when joined together, can outshine the void. 45. Rogue One's sacrifice. When the Empire built a weapon to silence all worlds, the Death Star, a handful of rebels chose to stand in its path. Led by Jyn Erso, they stormed the beaches of Scarif to steal the plans that would reveal its secret flaw. They knew they would not survive, yet they went willingly, their courage echoing through the Force itself. Blaster fire lit the ocean mist. Transmissions flickered through static. Hope passed from hand to trembling hand. One by one they fell, and in their falling, the galaxy rose. From their final breath came a new dawn, a single phrase carried across the stars: rebellions are built on hope. And the Force, at last, began to stir. 46. The Battle of Yavin. The rebellion's first great victory began in silence. A hidden base beneath the moon of Yavin 4, where the jungle hummed softly with unseen life. Pilots prepared in the still dawn, their hearts steady, their faith unspoken. Above them, the Death Star loomed, vast, cold, a weapon meant to extinguish hope itself. But hope is not so easily erased. When Luke Skywalker closed his eyes and trusted the Force, he became more than a pilot. He became a thread in destiny's design. The torpedoes found their mark. Light swallowed darkness. The galaxy exhaled. For a moment, peace returned. Fragile, fleeting, but real. And from that victory, legends were born, carried on wings of starlight and memory. 47. Echoes on Hoth. The snows of Hoth glistened like crystal dust beneath a pale sun. Hidden within that frozen silence, the rebels built another refuge, a fortress carved from ice and perseverance. Their laughter, faint and warm, filled the halls of Echo Base, a small flame against the chill. When the Empire found them, thunder came. Walkers striding through blizzards, the ground trembling beneath their weight. Still, the rebels fought with calm desperation, every heartbeat a defiance of fate. Amid the storm, friendships deepened. Han and Leia's bickering affection, Luke's courage tempered by frost and faith. Though they fled once more into the stars, their unity endured. For in every retreat, the Force whispered, survival itself is victory. 48. Cloud City's betrayal. High above the gas giant Bespin floated Cloud City, beautiful, serene, and full of hidden fear. It was a place of trade and dreams, ruled by Lando Calrissian's charm and shifting loyalties. When the Empire came, the clouds themselves seemed to dim. Vader's presence turned every corridor cold, every breath shallow. Han was taken, Leia imprisoned, and Luke arrived, drawn by visions of suffering and love. Their fates intertwined in sorrow and revelation. A hand lost, a truth revealed. I am your father. The words echoed like thunder through eternity. Yet even as despair fell, compassion endured. For every betrayal carries the seed of redemption, and above the clouds, the stars still waited, patient as ever. 49. The redemption of a father. In the shadowed throne room of the Death Star, a son faced his father, not as enemies, but as mirrors. Luke Skywalker, guided by compassion, refused to fight the way the darkness demanded. His lightsaber fell silent, his will unbroken. And in that stillness, the man once called Anakin Skywalker awoke. He saw not rebellion nor empire, but love, pure, unwavering, the very light he had long abandoned. With his final act, he saved his son and destroyed the Sith who had enslaved him. As he lay dying, he looked upon Luke with peace in his eyes. The Force, long divided, trembled with joy. For even in ruin, redemption blooms, and the night was no longer endless. 50. Endor's dawn. Beneath the green canopy of Endor's forests, the morning light shimmered through the leaves like blessings from the stars. The battle had ended. The Death Star was gone, and the galaxy seemed to breathe again. Ewoks sang among the trees. The flames of victory flickered against the ancient trunks. Leia and Han smiled beneath the firelight, and Luke, alone for a moment, felt his father's presence drift peacefully into the Force. The sky above glowed with fireworks, symbols of freedom, of rebirth. But in that noise, there was also quiet, a reminder that peace is precious because it is fragile. As dawn rose over Endor, the galaxy opened its eyes once more to possibility. Balance, for a time, had been restored. 51. The Child of Prophecy. Long before his name became legend, Anakin Skywalker was only a boy, a slave beneath Tatooine's twin suns. He dreamed of freedom, of stars beyond reach, of kindness stronger than chains. When Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn discovered him, he saw in the boy's eyes something ancient, the will of the Force itself. Anakin built machines from scraps and hope, yet it was his heart that shone brightest. The prophecy spoke of one who would bring balance to the Force, and so the Jedi took him from his home, believing destiny had chosen him. But destiny is never gentle. The same light that saves can burn, and the same child who was born to restore peace would one day walk through shadow to find it. 52. The Queen's Guardian. Before the wars, before the fall, there was Naboo, and a young queen named Padme Amidala. Wise beyond her years, she ruled with grace and conviction, seeing diplomacy as strength, not weakness. When danger threatened her world, she stood alongside Jedi protectors, and among them, a young knight named Anakin Skywalker. In their shared courage, love quietly bloomed, hidden beneath duty's shadow. Padme believed in the goodness within him, even when the galaxy began to doubt. Her voice carried across Senate halls, calm yet resolute, a reminder that compassion can be the most enduring kind of power. Though tragedy would take her, her legacy became the seed of hope, carried in the hearts of her children and in the memory of every soul who still believed in peace. 53. The Son of Suns. On a desert world where twin suns rose and set over endless dunes, a boy named Luke Skywalker dreamed of adventure. He was small in a vast galaxy, yet within him slept the spark of destiny. When he gazed at the horizon, it wasn't longing for escape. It was the call of the Force itself, whispering of purpose and legacy. Guided by Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke found not only his father's weapon, but his own courage. Through trials and loss, he grew from a dreamer into a beacon. The Force moved through him like wind through sand, gentle, unstoppable. And when the time came to choose, he chose mercy. In his compassion, the prophecy of balance found its light. 54. The Princess of Alderaan Leia. Organa was born into nobility, but her heart belonged to rebellion. She carried her mother's wisdom and her father's fire, yet forged her own path between them. When Alderaan was lost, a world silenced in an instant, she did not yield to despair. Her resolve only deepened, her compassion sharpened into defiance. With every speech, every mission, every act of kindness, she kept the flame alive. She was both diplomat and warrior, leader and sister, hope and steel. Even in her quietest moments, the Force shimmered faintly around her, not as command, but as grace. For Leia was more than a princess. She was the galaxy's enduring heartbeat. 55. The Scoundrel's Heart. Han Solo was never meant to be a hero, a smuggler, a wanderer, a man running from debts both worldly and emotional. He drifted through hyperspace with only the hum of the Falcon and his loyal co-pilot Chewbacca to break the silence. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. When he met a princess and a farm boy, his cynicism began to crack. Underneath the bravado was a man who cared more than he dared admit. He fought not for the credits, but for the people beside him. Through danger, laughter, and impossible odds, Han discovered something the galaxy could not teach: that love, once found, is the greatest rebellion of all. His heart, once restless, finally had a cause worth flying for. 56. Twins of Destiny. Born in secret, separated at birth, yet forever linked, Luke and Leia were the galaxy's living balance. One guided by faith, the other by conviction. One looked to the stars, the other to the people beneath them. When they reunited, the Force itself seemed to sigh with recognition. They were reflections of the same light, different paths leading to harmony. Through their courage, the Skywalker line found redemption, and through their love, the galaxy found peace. Even when they stood apart, their connection endured, invisible but unbreakable. The Force flowed between them like the tide, reminding all who listen that destiny is not a burden, but a bond. Two souls, forever intertwined, bringing balance simply by existing together. 57. The Fall of Ben Solo. Born of heroes, Ben Solo carried the weight of greatness before he could understand it. Trained by his uncle, guided by the Force, he was strong. But strength, without peace, can tremble. In the depths of his heart, doubt grew like a storm. The whispers of the dark side promised belonging, purpose, and release from the expectations of legacy. And so, the boy became Kylo Ren, a name forged from sorrow and fury. He sought to destroy what once loved him, believing power could quiet pain. Yet within every act of cruelty flickered hesitation, the faint echo of light not yet extinguished. For even those who fall carry within them the memory of dawn. 58. Rey of Jakku. On the lonely dunes of Jakku, a scavenger searched through the bones of forgotten ships. Her name was Rey, a girl with no family, no past, and yet a strength that pulsed through her like quiet thunder. Each sunrise found her gazing at the sky, dreaming of belonging among the stars. When destiny crossed her path with a lost droid and a runaway stormtrooper, the Force stirred once more. She felt it in her hands, her heart, her every breath, an energy that had always been waiting for her to notice. Rey's journey was one of rediscovery, not of power, but of self. In front, her compassion, she carried the legacy of those who came before. In her solitude, she found her own path to the light. 59. The Rise of Skywalker. The echoes of the past converged in a final storm. The light and dark entwined one last time. Rey stood against the Shadow Reborn, guided by the whispers of countless Jedi. Their voices, Luke, Leia, Yoda, Obi-Wan, formed a chorus of serenity, reminding her that she was never alone. Through her courage, she did not destroy darkness. She transformed it. In healing, she ended what war could not. As the twin suns rose once more over Tatooine, Rey laid to rest the sabers of those who came before her. She took their name not from blood, but from spirit. Skywalker. And the desert wind, carrying echoes of generations, whispered in peace, "The Force is with you." 60. Balance restored. When all wars have ended, and every star burns quietly again, the Force hums in contentment. Balance was never meant to be stillness. It is the dance of light and shadow, forever intertwined. Through the choices of countless souls, Jedi and Sith, rebels and dreamers, the galaxy learned this truth. The Force does not seek victory, but understanding. And so it flows endlessly, through the rustle of trees on Endor, the laughter of children on Naboo, the song of the wind over Tatooine's sands. Peace returns not as triumph, but as remembrance. The circle closes, only to open again. And somewhere in the quiet night, the Force dreams, alive, eternal, at rest. 61. The Creed of Honor. Long before the rise of the Jedi or the fall of the Empire, the Mandalorians shaped their lives by a single vow: the Way. It was more than armor or battle. It was belonging. Their creed spoke of unity through strength, of loyalty that outlasted fear. To wear the helmet was to carry generations, to see not as one, but as all who came before. They valued promise over politics, action over speech, and believed that honor was a light only seen in darkness. When they walked the desert or the stars, their footsteps echoed the same truth: we are stronger together. And when the galaxy forgot them, they whispered to one another beneath their breath, "This is the way." 62. Beskar forged in flame. The heart of Mandalorian strength lay in its metal. Beskar, harvested from fallen comets and ancient mines, it was nearly unbreakable, shimmering like liquid moonlight when heated. In the forges of Mandalore, smiths worked in sacred silence, their hammers falling in rhythm with prayer. Each strike was a promise that armor protects not only the body, but the spirit. When a warrior earned a piece of Beskar, it was shaped to fit their journey alone. No two suits were the same. It could deflect blaster fire, even lightsabers, but its true power was memory. Every dent, every scar told a story. And when the forge cooled, the smith whispered to the metal, as if to a child, "You will endure." 63. The Darksaber's lineage among all Mandalorian relics. None carried more weight than the Darksaber, a weapon unlike any other. Forged by Tara Vizsla, the first Mandalorian Jedi, it bound two paths long, thought opposed. Its black blade shimmered with edges of white light, humming with the tension of harmony itself. Passed through clans and centuries, it became a symbol of leadership, not given, but claimed through honor in combat. Those who held it carried both burden and blessing, for the blade answered only to conviction. When raised in anger, it burned cold. When lifted in purpose, it sang. The Darksaber's story was not of conquest, but of balance, fire, and faith, forever entwined beneath the stars. 64. The Fall of Mandalore. There came a time when Mandalore, once radiant with the fire of unity, fell beneath its own weight. The great domed cities cracked, and the skies that once shimmered with Beskar ships turned gray with ash. War had become their language, and even the strongest hearts grew weary of its sound. The Empire descended, promising order, and in its wake, devastation. Bombardments turned mountains to glass, rivers to silence. Only a few remained to tell the tale: smiths who kept the creed alive in secret tunnels, warriors who who carried the last sparks of their world. They spoke not of revenge, but remembrance. For every fall, they believed, was only a pause between one forging and the next. Even broken Beskar can be reforged. 65. The Foundling's Path. Amid the ruin, a tradition endured, the care of the foundling. To take in a child orphaned by war was not charity, but sacred duty. Each foundling was a reminder that family is chosen, not given by blood. When a warrior claimed one, they offered more than protection. They offered identity, belonging, and purpose. Through the creed, the lost became whole again. In the quiet rituals of the forge, their names were spoken and remembered, their armor shaped as a promise of future strength. The foundlings' first steps were not on a battlefield, but within the warmth of shared silence, surrounded by those who understood what it meant to lose and still remain. And so the way continued, one child at a time. 66. Din Djarin's Journey. From the ashes of Mandalore rose a lone hunter, Din Djarin, a man bound by honor and solitude. He walked between worlds, his voice few, his actions many. To some, he was a mercenary, to others, a protector. But everything changed when he found a child, small, green, and silent, whose eyes held the weight of galaxies. Grogu, the foundling, became his purpose. Through him, the warrior learned compassion, and through the Mandalorian, the child found home. Together, they crossed the stars, two souls reshaping what family means. And in every step, every whisper of the creed, there was peace. For strength without kindness is hollow, and love, when guarded, is the truest armor of all. 67. Grogu's Quiet Power. Small, wide-eyed, and filled with mystery, Grogu was more than a foundling. He was a memory of an older time. Within his gentle gaze lay centuries of knowledge, and in his tiny hands, the same light that once guided Jedi across the stars. Yet Grogu's power was not his truest gift. It was his innocence. He reached for the Force as a child might reach for sunlight, curious and unafraid. Through him, Din Djarin learned that strength can take the form of tenderness, and that silence can speak louder than war. When Grogu raised his hand, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath, and in that moment, the Force itself smiled, ancient, patient, and proud. 68. The Way of the Clan. In time, Din and Grogu became more than wanderers. They became clan. To walk the way was to protect one another, to honor the bond between creed and care. Their ship became a home, their travels a pilgrimage through the quiet edges of the galaxy. Other Mandalorians crossed their path, some stern, some kind, each one a reflection of what it means to belong. And though the code was strict, its heart was love, a devotion to something greater than oneself. As Grogu nestled in his guardian's arms, and the stars drifted by in silence, the meaning of the way became clear. It was not conquest, but compassion. Not the sound of blasters, but the stillness between heartbeats. 69. The Return to Mandalore. At last, the time came to return to the world long thought lost. Mandalore's surface lay scarred and silent, its cities buried beneath dust and crystal. Yet beneath the ruin, life endured. Tiny flowers blooming in the cracks, water flowing again in hidden caverns. The Mandalorians gathered, their voices echoing through the dark halls of their ancestors. Together, they reignited the forge, flames rising toward the heavens once more. The creed was not forgotten. It had merely been waiting. And as the first sparks danced in the firelight, the people of Mandalore spoke the words that had carried them across the ages. This is the way. 70. This is the way. Every creed needs words to guide it, and for the Mandalorians, those words became sacred. This is the way. Spoken not as command, but as affirmation, it was their compass through chaos. It reminded them that identity is not armor, but choice. Each act, each kindness, each vow shaping who they are. When uttered around the forge's glow, it bound warriors and foundlings alike in unity deeper than blood. To say the phrase was to honor the past and trust the unseen future. Even across the farthest stars, where battles faded and songs grew old, the words endured, a promise whispered in the dark that no matter how lost one becomes, the way always leads home. 71. Tatooine's twin suns. On the edge of the outer rim lies a world of heat and horizon, Tatooine. Its twin suns rise and set in silent rhythm, painting the sands gold by day and silver by night. It is a harsh place, yet life endures. Farmers draw water from the sky, creatures burrow beneath dunes, and wanderers carve meaning from survival. Here, destiny once stirred, the Skywalker name born in the dust and wind. But beyond heroes and legends, Tatooine remains what it has always been, a teacher of patience, of humility, of persistence against endless odds. Its silence is ancient, its beauty severe. And as each sun falls, the galaxy seems to pause, two circles of light closing their eyes in peace. 72. Naboo's Lake Country. If Tatooine teaches endurance, Naboo teaches peace. Its rolling hills and glassy lakes shimmer beneath gentle sunlight, where the breeze carries the scent of rain and blossoms. Cities rise not from conquest, but from artistry. Domes reflecting water and sky as one. In quiet corners, children fish beneath marble bridges, their laughter echoing across rippling waves. It was here Padme Amidala once stood, dreaming of unity for the galaxy. And though empires rose and fell, Naboo endured, a reminder that beauty is a form of resilience. When the stars appear above its calm waters, they reflect so clearly that one cannot tell where heaven ends and peace begins. 73. Coruscant's Night Sky. On Coruscant, night never truly falls. The planet city glows eternally, towers piercing clouds, sky lanes weaving like threads of light through the endless dark. Yet even here, amid noise and neon, stillness can be found. Jedi once stood upon the temple's high spires, watching ships drift like stars in motion. Far below, billions dreamed, unaware of the ancient force that pulsed beneath their feet. In the deepest hours, when the city's hum softened, one could almost hear it, the galaxy breathing. Coruscant's sky reminded all who looked upward that even in civilization's heart, wonder remains. And above that sleepless world, the true stars waited, quiet, patient, forgiving. 74. Dagobah's Living Swamp. Hidden far beyond the bright lanes of the core lies Dagobah, a world alive with whispering life. Its air hums with unseen energy, vines breathing, creatures murmuring beneath pools of mist. When exile found Yoda, it was here he came, not to hide from the galaxy, but to dwell within its truest form. There were no cities, no empires, only the rhythm of the Force, constant, flowing, wild. The swamp became his companion, its every shadow a lesson. He meditated beside still waters and listened to the song of frogs and wind. In that living silence, Yoda found balance again. For the Force does not only dwell in temples, it lives wherever life chooses to endure. 75. Hoth's White Silence. If Dagobah breathes, Hoth barely whispers. The ice world stretches beyond sight, vast and unbroken, a landscape sculpted by wind and solitude. To survive here is to surrender to stillness. When the rebels built their base beneath its snow, they brought warmth to a place that had never known it. Fires flickered in steel caverns while blizzards howled above. Outside, the galaxy seemed distant, only stars and frost sharing the void. But even on Hoth, where sound dies and breath freezes, the Force lingers like frostlight on the air. It hums softly beneath the snow, reminding all who listen that even the coldest silence carries the promise of dawn. 76. Endor's Forest. Choir. Deep within the forests of Endor, life sings in 1,000 voices. Leaves shimmer under soft moonlight, and the canopy glows with the hum of unseen insects. This is a world untouched by ambition, where each creature, from the tiniest bird to the curious Ewok, plays its part in the great harmony of nature. Here, the rebellion found its final victory, yet the land itself remained serene, indifferent to war. When the last battle ended, the forest exhaled, peace returning like sunlight through mist. Campfires flickered between towering trees as laughter replaced the sounds of blasters. If one listens closely, the wind through the branches still carries their song, a melody of unity, resilience, and rest. 77. Mustafar's Molten Heart. Where Endor is calm, Mustafar burns. It is a world of fire and shadow, its rivers of lava flowing like veins of anger through blackened stone. Yet within its fury lies creation, a heartbeat of the galaxy's molten core. Here, destinies collided, and legends were scarred. Anakin Skywalker's fall to darkness reached its crescendo upon these burning shores. But even here, amid ash and agony, the Force endures. In time, the fires cooled, and small green shoots began to emerge from the cracks. Mustafar reminds us that pain is not the end of life. It is the soil from which healing can grow. For every flame that consumes, there is another that warms. 78. Achto's Stone Islands. At the edge of the galaxy lies Achtu, a world of gray cliffs, blue seas, and silence. Here, Luke Skywalker sought solitude, the waves echoing the rhythm of his breath. The first Jedi temple rests upon its cliffs, its stones worn smooth by countless tides. Caretaker creatures move slowly through the morning fog, their songs blending with the ocean wind. Achtu is a place of reflection, where endings and beginnings are the same. Luke came here to hide, but found instead the truth that all Jedi seek. That peace is not the absence of struggle, but the acceptance of it. And when the sun sets beyond its waters, even the Force seems to rest. 79. Lothal's Horizon. On the peaceful plains of Lothal, the horizon stretches farther than the eye can see. Golden grass swaying beneath twin moons, the air alive with the hum of unseen energy. It is a world that remembers. Here, the ghosts of the rebellion once flew, and a boy named Ezra Bridger learned what it meant to listen to the Force. Lothal was not a place of grand battles, but of quiet triumphs, of connection between life and destiny. When the Empire fell, the planet began to heal, its fields glowing with new life. And on calm nights, when the wind moves gently through the grass, the Force can still be felt, whispering the stories of those who dared to believe. 80. The Outer Rim Beyond. Past the last star charts, beyond the mapped lanes of hyperspace, lies the unknown, the Outer Rim and beyond. Here, silence stretches like an ocean, unbroken by the noise of politics or power. Smugglers, explorers, and dreamers drift between lonely systems, where time feels slower and starlight feels closer. Some say the Force is different out there, less structured, more wild. Worlds spin quietly, untouched by empire or order, their skies vast and unjudging. It is in this expanse that many travelers find what they were not looking for: themselves. For even the emptiest corners of the galaxy are full of meaning, if one has the patience to listen. The Outer Rim reminds us that the unknown is not something to fear. It is simply another path through the Force. 81. The Living Force. Beneath all stories, beneath every victory and sorrow, there flows a current that connects all things, the living force. It moves through every breath, every leaf, every flicker of flame. Jedi feel it when they close their eyes and exhale. Creatures sense it when they lift their heads to the wind. It is the heartbeat of existence, eternal and unending. When a star dies, it returns to this current, only to shine again elsewhere. To touch the living force is to know that nothing is ever truly gone, that every loss, every joy becomes part of the same infinite song. And if one listens long enough, the galaxy hums softly in reply, I am with you always. 82. The Cosmic Force. While the living force binds all living things in the moment, the cosmic force watches from beyond, vast and timeless. It is the great sea into which all life eventually returns, the stillness beyond the song. Where the living force feels like a heartbeat, the cosmic force feels like eternity itself. Quiet, infinite, patient. The Jedi who listen closely sometimes hear it not as sound, but as a sense of peace, too deep for words. When life ends, it is to the cosmic force that the spirit journeys, becoming one with the endless pattern. Through it, the galaxy breathes, learns, and begins anew. The cosmic force does not command, it simply is, and within that silence, everything finds meaning. 83. The Will's Chronicle. Long before the Jedi kept records of the Force, there were the Wills, mysterious beings said to observe and record the flow of destiny itself. They did not interfere, only watched, capturing every act of courage, every whisper of fate. Some say the Wills write the very history of the galaxy, not in ink or stone, but in energy and memory. They are the silent storytellers of the Force, the ones who ensure that even forgotten lives are remembered in the fabric of time. It is through them that the Force tells its tale, one heartbeat at a time. Perhaps, in some quiet way, every living soul becomes a will, carrying within it a spark of story, a piece of the eternal narrative. And in that truth, no life is ever truly forgotten. 84. Visions in the Cave. There are places in the galaxy where the Force gathers thick as mist, ancient, powerful, and alive. In such places, seekers may glimpse themselves as they truly are. Luke once entered such a cave on Dagobah, and there, he faced not his enemy, but his own fear. The cave does not punish, it reveals. What one brings inside becomes the lesson waiting to be learned. It is a mirror, showing that darkness and light live within the same heart. And when the vision fades, only calm remains, the quiet understanding that balance begins within. 85. Force, ghosts. To some, death is an ending, but to those who walk closely with the Force, it is merely a change in form. When a Jedi passes, their essence may remain, a soft light within the living Force, visible to those who still listen. These are the Force ghosts, luminous echoes of wisdom and kindness. They appear not to haunt, but to guide, their voices as calm as wind through leaves. Yoda, Obi-Wan, Anakin, all returned in this way, not to command, but to comfort. They remind the living that the Force is not a barrier, but a bridge, and when they fade, it is never in sorrow, only in peace, as they return to the great current once more. 86. The Mortis Realm. Beyond the reach of hyperspace lies a place where the Force takes shape, the realm of Mortis. Here dwell three beings: the Father, who seeks balance, the Son, who embodies the dark, and the Daughter, who carries the light. Together, they form a living mirror of the Force itself: harmony, conflict, and renewal intertwined. When Anakin Skywalker visited Mortis, he saw his destiny reflected in their eternal struggle. It is said that time bends there, that dreams and reality weave as one. But Mortis is not a place to conquer. It is a lesson to understand. It teaches that light and dark are not enemies, but necessary halves of a single truth. That balance is born from compassion. 87. The World Between Worlds. Hidden within the ancient temples of Lothal lies a gateway to the unthinkable, the world between worlds. It is a realm beyond space and time, where every moment echoes simultaneously. Through its shimmering paths, one may hear voices from past and future, see doors that open into destiny itself. Ezra Bridger once walked its halls, guided by faith rather than fear. He learned that to touch the past is to change the present, and that every choice, no matter how small, ripples forever. The world between worlds is the heartbeat of possibility, the Force dreaming of all it could ever be. It reminds us that eternity is not far away. It lives quietly within each moment. 88. Prophecies of the Chosen. Throughout the ages, visions have risen like mist through the Force, prophecies of one who would bring balance. Some were carved into temple walls, others whispered in the dreams of Jedi long forgotten. They spoke not of triumph, but of transformation. For balance is not achieved through victory, but through surrender, a harmony between opposites. Many sought to interpret these words. Some feared them, others shaped their lives around them. Yet the Force is patient. It reveals meaning only to those who listen without demand. The Chosen One is not a single being, but a reminder that balance is a choice each soul must make every day, in every breath. 89. The Kyber's Song. Deep within the galaxy's crust lie the veins of the Force itself, Kyber crystals, humming softly in their eternal sleep. To the untrained ear, they are silent. But to one attuned to the Force, they sing, high, pure, like wind through glass. When a Jedi approaches, the crystal calls, resonating with the energy of their heart. It chooses its bearer, not through strength, but through spirit. And when ignited within a lightsaber, it does not burn. It sings. Its hum is the voice of the Force made manifest, a harmony between living being and luminous truth. Even when shattered, Kyber remembers. Each fragment carries a note of the great symphony that unites all life. 90. Harmony of the Force. In the end, all paths, Jedi, Sith, light, dark, life, death, flow toward the same quiet center. It is the moment between heartbeats, the breath between stars. The Force does not divide. It balances, weaving every story into one endless pattern. When one listens deeply, it sounds like still water beneath twin moons, calm, endless, aware. The Force is love and fear and hope, all moving in rhythm. It teaches that every act, no matter how small, echoes across eternity. And so it waits, gentle, luminous, eternal, holding the galaxy in its infinite embrace. 91. The Echo of Legends. Every story leaves an echo. From the hum of lightsabers to the laughter of friends long gone, the galaxy remembers every sound, every choice, every heartbeat. Legends are not only tales of heroes and wars. They are the quiet moments between, the hand offered in peace, the whisper of forgiveness, the courage to walk away from anger. Even when those moments fade into myth, the Force keeps them. Not as grand histories, but as simple truths. In the farthest corners of space, a traveler might still feel them. The warmth of unseen hope, the faint hum of destiny fulfilled. For legends never end. They become part of the breath that keeps the stars alive. 92. The weight of destiny. Destiny is a gentle weight, invisible yet always present. It does not command, but invites. The Jedi learned that fate is not a chain, but a river, one that bends to the will of compassion. Each being adds their current to it, shaping its path. Sometimes it feels heavy, the call to act, to choose, to change the course of things. But within that burden lies meaning, the quiet satisfaction of being part of something larger. Even those who resist their calling still find it waiting in the silence. The Force never rushes, it only guides. And when destiny's work is done, it releases its hold like a hand letting go with love. 93. The silence after battle. After every storm, there comes a hush. On worlds once scarred by war, the wind returns first, soft, cleansing, forgiving. The fallen are remembered, the survivors sit in stillness, and the galaxy begins to heal. It is in this silence that the Force speaks the loudest, not in victory or defeat, but in the breath that follows, the moment when one realizes that peace is possible again. The lightsabers are extinguished, the blasters cooled, and hearts begin to open. Even the stars seem to pause, glowing gently in shared remembrance. For in stillness, healing begins, and from that peace, the next dawn is born. 94. The wisdom of Yoda. Small in form, but infinite in presence, Yoda was a living embodiment of the Force's patience. He spoke not to command, but to awaken what already lived within others. Through riddles, laughter, and long silences, he taught that control was illusion and that mastery begins with humility. Centuries of study had shown him that fear, not darkness, is the truest enemy. When he closed his eyes, he did not see battles, only the endless flow of life, rising and falling like the breath of the galaxy itself. His words linger still, carried by the wind through the stars. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. In Yoda's quiet smile lives the reminder that enlightenment is simply peace. 95. The compassion of Obi-Wan. Through every loss, every exile, and every heartbreak, Obi-Wan Kenobi remained steady, a pillar of mercy in a galaxy that had forgotten its own. He fought when he had to, but always without hate. He watched friends fall to shadow and still chose forgiveness over despair. On the twin-sunned horizon of Tatooine, he waited, not in bitterness, but in faith. For him, hope was not something to see. It was something to be. Even when the galaxy called him a relic, the Force knew him as its quiet guardian. And when his journey ended, he did not fall. He became light itself, a calm presence guiding generations toward courage. In compassion, he found immortality. 96. The hope of Leia. Hope has many voices, but Leia Organa's was among the strongest. She carried her mother's wisdom, her father's bravery, and her own unbreakable grace. When the galaxy fractured, she stood unbent, a leader who believed that kindness could be strategy and that empathy was strength. She bore her grief silently, transforming it into resolve. Her every act was a promise to the future that freedom would endure. Even when surrounded by darkness, she found light in the people around her and taught them to find it in themselves. For Leia, hope was not a dream. It was a choice made every morning beneath the same stars her family once saved. 97. The courage of Luke. Luke Skywalker's courage was never about power. It was the quiet bravery to stand unarmed before darkness, to see good in what others had condemned. From the deserts of Tatooine to the halls of the Emperor, he carried faith like a lantern through shadow. He faced temptation not with anger, but with compassion, the hardest form of strength. His greatest act was not victory, but restraint, to choose mercy when vengeance called. Through him, the Force remembered its purpose, not destruction, but harmony. And when he became one with that endless current, his light did not fade. It scattered across the stars, gentle as dawn, reminding all who followed that true courage is the act of choosing peace. 98. The Love of Anakin. Anakin Skywalker's story was written in light and shadow, but its core was love. Love that began in innocence, that grew wild with fear, that fell into darkness, and still, somehow, endured. His mistakes were vast, yet through love, he found redemption. For even when he became Darth Vader, a spark of compassion remained, hidden beneath armor and pain. When his son reached for him, that spark ignited once more. It burned away the mask, the anger, the years of silence, leaving only the truth of who he was. The Force did not judge him. It welcomed him home. For love, even when lost, is never gone. It simply waits to be remembered. 99. The balance of all things. The Force is neither good nor evil, neither light nor dark. It is balance. It moves through every sunrise, every fall of night, every life and death and breath in between. When one side grows too strong, the other rises to meet it, like waves that shape a shore. Balance is not stillness. It is the harmony of motion, the peace of understanding. Every choice, every being, adds to this endless rhythm. It is not perfection, but unity. The galaxy exhaling in equilibrium. And as the Force hums through stars and silence alike, it reminds all creation of one truth, that in balance, there is rest. 100. The galaxy dreams on. When all stories have been told, when sabers are silent and the last starship drifts through endless night, the galaxy still dreams. Its worlds, its creatures, its memories, all move within the quiet current of the Force. The twin suns rise again over Tatooine, golden and eternal. The forests of Endor hum with peace. The oceans of Naboo shimmer in calm reflection. Somewhere, a youngling takes their first breath, and the Force stirs anew. Soft, patient, smiling. For every ending in this galaxy is only the beginning of another. The Force does not sleep. It rests. It hums in the pulse of the universe, a cradle song for all who listen. And as you drift now into the quiet beyond stars, know this. You are part of that dream. Luminous, infinite, loved. And as our journey through the galaxy comes to rest, may the Force bring balance to your mind and peace to your dreams. If these stories helped you drift into the stars, remember to like, subscribe, and share which Star Wars era you'd love to fall asleep to next. When you're ready to keep dreaming, tap the end screen to hear the next bedtime voyage and fall asleep to another quiet night beneath the twin suns. Rest well, traveler. The Force will guide your dreams.